So when we're talking about masking, masking tends to be the general overarching term that we use when we are describing somebody who is consciously seeking to control their presentation, to control their identity in an attempt to fit in with society's norms. So that might be somebody that perhaps is hyper aware of the eye contact that they're making, very conscious of their body language. Maybe they're very conscious of controlling their movements. So if that person often needs to sort of regulate through their movement, through stimming, triggering their vestibular system, they might be very aware of keeping myself still, keeping my body still. It might also be somebody that's seeking to fit in with society norms. So back when I was a teenager, everybody liked Take That. I'm afraid I didn't like Take That. I liked Garbage, which was a very cool band in my youth. But a young person that might be masking might create the illusion that, oh, I like Take That too, because they want to fit in with their peer group. So masking might take a variety of different forms, but it's about seeking to fit in with the neurotypical tribe, seeking to hide your true self in an attempt to make yourself more pleasing, more appealing to your social group. So it's a conscious thing that somebody might do in an attempt to fit in with their peer group. Fawning is something that's a little bit different, and a lot of the research indicates that fawning is almost like a trauma response. So when we're feeling that we're under threat, when we're feeling that we're in a challenging situation that could be almost dangerous or difficult for us, fawning is an unconscious shift in our presentation to make ourselves fit in, to reduce the risk, to hide from the danger that we perceive. And of course, for many people, when we're talking about trauma and we're talking about risk, it means different things for different people. And for some people, being in a very complicated social scenario that they're finding quite challenging can feel overwhelming, it can feel risky. So it kind of falls into what we often refer to as that fight, flight or freeze mode, where the young person fawns, they freeze. If you think of a deer freezing in a headlight, they freeze in an attempt to not draw attention to themselves. And as a result of that, they might seek to please the people around them in an attempt to fit in. Because if I'm agreeable, if I'm lovely, and if I'm saying yes to everything you're asking of me, you're less likely to come and draw attention to my differences. You're less likely to ask me to do something. So I might want to really, really please you. So if you're my teacher, I might want to give out all of the whiteboard pens. I might want to stay in at lunchtime and tidy the book corner. You might ask me if I understand something, and I'll go, yes, I do, Mrs. Jarvis. I know completely what I'm doing. But you might go ahead, you might go along with things that I'm saying to you, even if you don't agree with them, even if it's not something you want to do, because that's protecting you. It's preventing you from being in any kind of further challenging social situations. So there's a big difference between that masking and that fawning profile.